Come, little children, I'll take thee away into a land of enchantment. Come, little children, the time's come to play here in my garden of shadows.
Hello, I'm Runya, aka Media Adaptation,
And I'm Ada.
and welcome you back to Moderation, where all media is fair game. And if you'd like to give feedback, then feel free to leave a comment or hit up our Discord channel. Link will be down in the description below. Anyway, it's time once again to talk about the supposedly lost age style anime Go For The Punch, aka Saki Sanobashi, where we cover any new developments on the Discord and Reddit channels, and then cover some older anime and manga. And we'll start off where we normally do. Over on the Discord, a handful of sites have popped up, and some people have started looking through them. No word back if anything interesting has been found. There's also conversation about how different kinds of kanji are used, and no one really knows the context of what it's supposed to apply to, so if anyone knows about that, then always feel free to tell us down below. In the way of mystery images, we have a few that popped up, namely this one, which is from The Curse of Kazu Omizu, which we did a full review on a while back, so I'll link the link up to that up in the card, in case anyone wants to double check it. Then we have this one, which is from 1995's Gunsmith Cats. I've actually never seen this one before, so it might be a good topic for us to cover one of these weeks. And then there's also this one, which I've seen several times decades back. It's not that reverse image sites bring up nothing, but the exact opposite. This one has been used everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, Newgrounds, and DeviantArt. Every major site that has a user feature, someone has put this up as their avatar. Heck, this thing is so widely known that it exists in the age of demotivational posters, which is the ancestor of modern memes. So I'd put this, given the art style, around the early 2000s. I believe it's a standalone piece of art, but if anyone knows any more information, in, who actually made this, then again, feel free to tell us. Next on the list, took me a bit, but turns out to be made by one of the users on whoaban.com, by the user Bambi. And the title of this one is called I Died. It's more of a metaphorical one, as each girl is the same person. So I guess it represents the different stages of their life. After that, we have this pleasant one, which is made by a Japanese manga artist, Shintaro Kago, who is famous for making many bizarre pieces of art using the human form. Just Google search their name if you're not familiar with their work. Again, he popped up a lot, especially in that group of Goro manga that we covered a while back. The next one also falls into that overexposed category, as this one comes from Tumblr. And after ping-ponging around a couple of the things, I believe it was originally made by this username, which I cannot pronounce because of the numbers. Or at least that's the earliest that I could find. And sadly, after doing all this research, I scroll down, only to learn that the Discord user Fairnox has already found this out. A while ago, actually. So, now I feel a bit stupid. But good work on ya. Anyway, over on the Reddit, we have some people asking, how can they actually help with the search? And there was a great reply from Hanamarochi99, saying that you can start looking into older anime that match up with the art style, and watch them and see if you find any new leads. Or two, you can go straight to the Wayback Machine and dig through some internet archives of old websites, assuming they actually still have them archived. But again, both suggestions are actually pretty good. And then I pose questions that maybe we already found Saki, but the story has changed so much from what it originally was supposed to be that it's now, well, unrecognizable. Which is a genuine concern, but there's sadly no real way to really tell about this. Which is why a lot of other researchers have taken a more broad look at some of the topics, and not just eliminate things if they're missing one or two elements. So now it's time to go over to the other Reddit, and people are asking if they can just ban all the trolls, which, again, is probably a losing battle as long as the moderators sit on their butts. Another person posts a video about an old adult animation that we covered before. I can't remember the title of it offhand, but yes, we've already eliminated from the search, and I believe it was made in the early 70s. And on this forum, there's now a 50-50 split between trolls and real people. It's good to see, but it's still far from its old glory days. And before we move on, let's take a look at the fan art for this week. Again, I'll try to put the right names with the people who made the post with them. Again, if I mess up, then always feel free to tell us down in the comments below, and we'll try to correct it in our next video. And for today's anime, we're looking at Gundam from 1993. Oh, I'm sorry. You might actually know this one better as Battle Angel Alita, which is about a cyborg who's of course named Gally. Thanks. Right at the top, the title change of our main character's name is one of those English-only versions. A lot like how Ash Ketchum for Pokemon is known as Satoshi in Japan. But to make matters even more confusing, in the English dub of this, she is still called Gally. So again, to reiterate, in the OVA of Battle Angel Alita, there isn't a single person by the name of Alita. Again, I think this change was made in the manga, but that's another can of worms, as people claim that this was only a half-assed attempt at an adaptation. So, to run down the plot, Gally is a female cyborg who lost all of her memories, and is found in a junkyard, and is rebuilt using a smaller frame, which gives her head its slightly exaggerated features. The doc who helped her also doubles as a bounty hunter cosplaying as Alexander Anderson from Hellsing, and one day he gets into a bad spot, and Gally steps in, and finds out that she's really good at kicking butt, and also wants to become a bounty hunter. Subplot B involves her falling for their hired help, who wants to make it into the Flying City, where they suspect that she came from. Sadly, he kinda gets tunnel vision on this dream, and does whatever it takes to try and achieve it, even joining the black market's organ harvesters, which then comes back to bite him in the ass. He gets injured, and they patch him up, but then learns that there's no real way to buy yourself in there, so he tries to sneak in instead, and ultimately dies doing something really stupid. And the story ends with you wanting more. And sadly, for the longest time, this was their only adaptation, until we got the movie, which I still haven't watched, so it would be an interesting thing to compare it one of these days. And for adult animation this week, you guys have been asking me non-stop for a while, so it's Euphoria from 2011. The protagonist, Kisuki, wakes up with 6 other girls locked in a white room. And to oversimplify the title, it's basically if Jigsaw was in an off-brand. One of the girls says no to playing along with all this, and then gets fried in an electric chair. And there's 2 main problems with this story. There are 6 episodes in the anime, but all you need to do is watch the first one, and then pick one of the other ones at random. Cause since it was an adult game that was made in 2010, it's one of those choose-your-own-adventure stories. So the rooms are just repeated, just with different girls being chosen. And to make matters worse, there's no consistent narrative. There is no true overarching villain. It changes randomly depending on which girl you pick from the start, meaning that another character is then picked as the villain. Granted that our cover girl does become the villain more often, but not always. So this anime comes off more as a weird fever dream more than anything. And then on to my second point. Remember how this was going to be a dark and brutal anime, since it killed one of the characters right off the bat? Well, I hope you like it, because it never happens again. This anime just simplified its story. We get flashbacks of saying all the dark stuff that happened to them, like they did in the game, but we, the audience, never get to experience it, so it feels incredibly cheap to me. Anime Jigsaw should have more than one death trap. The best we get is a drowning bit, but she doesn't really die from it. I am half tempted to try and track down the game that's based on, but part of me asks if that's really worth the effort anymore. And as always, let's end our video with a look at the works of the artist Shinmu. Again, we're looking into their collection of stuff that wasn't translated over, and again, it's not my native language, so please don't hold it against me if I mess up on something. But anyway, let's start with the one called The Story of the Sea. We start off with the girl recounting that life started from the sea, but it has its limits. It's its own little sealed-off world. To struggle and climb to the top must be difficult. But then again, what is the alternative? To fall into ever-growing darkness. pitch black as night itself, while other beings thrive and hunt in its veil. As she walks down the hall, finding a pool of blood, which leads into a blackened corridor, and without hesitation, she walks into the unknown. Again, this was more subtle than some of their other works, but it's still nice. And anyway, on to our last one for the day, which is called Model Story. We start off with a girl watching a train go by, standing at the edge of the platform. But as it passes by, she quickly takes a step back, unable to go through with it, and repeating to herself that she'll do it next time. But then a hand taps on her shoulder, asking if she's scared. Don't worry, I'll show you how it's done. As the next train goes by, she jumps without hesitation, and then liquefies on contact. She just stands there, mad at herself for not having the strength to go through with it, and walking away as others gawk at the sight, wishing that they too could have done such a thing. They really like the topic of suicide, if that fact hasn't become painfully obvious by now. And it looks like we're going to be looking at these for a while to come, as just this past week, they uploaded another short story. So it's nice to see that despite the virus, they're still making projects. And that about does it for this video. If you have any other ideas like seeing made into a video, then please post it down in the comments below, and we'll add it to our next viewer request week.
It's now time for the part of the show where we ask you to help us appease the YouTube algorithm by dropping a like, share, or comment. It helps out much more than you'd think.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, then it's very much appreciated. And if you'd like to support this channel, then please visit our Patreon. Link will be down in the description below. Even if you can't give a lot, every little bit helps.
We also have a Let's Play channel where we play different horror games, or just whatever he feels like sometimes. The link to it is also in the description.
And I guess I'll see you in the next one. Anyway, I'm Runya.
And I'm Ada.
Remind you to take life in moderation.
Weep not, poor children, for life is this way, murdering beauty and